Hello, young St. Peter's friends. Welcome to Time Up Front. You might remember that the last story we had told us that a man named Nicodemus and another man named Joseph of Arimathea took care of Jesus' body after he died. They wrapped it up, they placed special spices beside it, and they placed it in a tomb that was carved out of rock. Another word for grave is tomb. Now, we think of a tomb or a grave as being something dug in the ground, but where Jesus was, a tomb was in the rock above the ground. So they laid his body there and they sealed it up tight with a big rock, and they went home. Now, as we know, when there are people at the same event, like a birthday party, who tell about it afterwards, everybody will have a little bit different version of the story to tell. And that's true of the Bible as well. Our storyteller today is John, and the story is found in the Gospel of John. Gospel means good news. John says that on the Sunday after Good Friday, Jesus' dear friend, Mary Magdalene, went to the tomb in the rock. She probably went there to cry. When someone you love dies, your whole body can hurt. And it's really good to have a good cry, or two or three. And sometimes people feel better if they go to the place where their loved one is buried. And Mary was like that. So she went to the tomb. And when she went, oh my goodness, the rock that had been put over the front of the tomb was rolled away. And this was astonishing because it was a huge rock. So Mary was very surprised. And when she saw how the tomb had the rock rolled away and she looked and the tomb was empty and there wasn't Jesus' body there, she didn't know what to do. So she ran to where all the other disciples were, and she told them what she had seen, and they said, "What?" And so she brought them back to the tomb. And here comes Peter, and here comes another disciple. And they looked and they saw the linen wrappings that were still there, but no body. Well, they didn't know what to think, except that the other disciple was thinking, and he knew that Jesus had said something once about rising, but he couldn't remember what that was that he had heard Jesus say. Well, the disciples really didn't know what to do, so they just went back to their homes to try to figure this out. But Mary stayed at the tomb, and she was crying, and she bent over and she looked inside. And Mary got a surprise too. There at the tomb, she saw two angels. And the shining angels said, "Woman, why are you weeping?" And she said to them, "Oh, they have taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they have laid him." And then she started to cry again, very hard. And you know what it's like when you cry really hard. You can't even see because your tears blur your vision. Mary thought this was just terrible. And she turned around as if to get ready to go home. And she heard another voice. She heard a voice of someone who said, "Woman, why are you weeping? Who are you looking for?" And she thought he must be the gardener of all of this garden. And so she said to him, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you put him, and then I will take care of his body." Maybe Joseph and Nicodemus had made a mistake about where they were supposed to put the body. Maybe it had been moved. Mary just didn't know, but she wanted to know. And then the person who was standing there said to her, "Mary." Oh my goodness. Mary only knew one person who spoke her name with so much love and tenderness and so much familiarity and friendship. It was Jesus. She knew it was Jesus, and she went running to give him a hug. And he said, "Hang on, Mary, hang on. Don't hold on to me yet. I have not gone up to the Father." Well, what did that mean? Mary didn't know. So she listened some more, and Jesus said, "Go to the others and tell them that I said this. Tell them that I said, I am going to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." Strange thing to say, but Mary wasn't going to argue. She said, "Okay, I will go." And Mary Magdalene ran to where the disciples were, and she told them, "I have seen the Lord." And she said that it was Jesus who told her to tell these things to her, that he was going to God. Now, Jesus rising is a mystery. He didn't come back from the dead to be the same. It was a different thing that we don't understand. It's maybe a little bit like how a caterpillar makes a chrysalis, and when the chrysalis is ready, a butterfly comes out. And it's the same creature, but it's just in a different form. Mysteries are wonderful. They help us to remember that the Spirit is powerful and is a wonderful thing. There are many things in the universe that are mysteries. Scientists love mysteries, and love is a mystery. We know when we feel it. We know when we see it in its many forms. But we can't put love in a box. We can't just create it. It's just there. On Easter Day, we celebrate this mystery, that God did something special and mysterious, that God raised Jesus in a mysterious way so that we would trust Jesus' teaching and that we would be strong in our spirit and that we would be connected in his love, that invisible string of love, always. It's okay if we can't explain it. There are lots of mysteries. I bet you can think of a few. So we celebrate new life at Easter, and we celebrate it with eggs and flowers and a special meal, sometimes with families and friends, big family gatherings, except this year. That's because we're keeping each other healthy by staying home so that scientists and doctors can find out how to stop the virus that is hurting people. So I'm thankful that we can all do this together. I hope that even though we are not together, that you will have a happy Easter day. We can celebrate this great love of God wherever we are. We celebrate that God raised Jesus to a different kind of life that time and space cannot hold. I hope that you have a happy Easter day, and I'll see you next time.